Yes. Hello and welcome to my little artist chat for Black Voices. I'm here with the beautiful Sharon Nyree Williams, and she is a spoken word artist. And she will be performing her show, Dare to Claim the Sky, this Thursday, October 15th. Can you believe it's October 15th already? 7 p.m. And you can get your tickets from www.whitefiretheater.com. Dare to claim the sky. So Sharon, welcome.
Thank you for having me. How you doing?
I'm excellent. I'm just like feeling like in the Black Voices groove right now, you know? It's everything Black Voices. So I'm so
Ooh,
happy to have you here.
yo, Black Voices inspired.
Yeah. You've been watching the shows thus far, right?
Yeah. You kicked it off right, and then the men and the women brought it, and the poet. It's just lovely. So
Yeah, yeah, it's been really, really beautiful. So I want to know a little bit about your show, Dare to Claim the Sky. So tell us a little bit about that.
it's biographical.
Hmm.
It's everything that is. It's all these little pieces around battling depression, what it means to be Black in America. I call some things out there. What it means to dream, religion. What it just means to be a woman. It's all those social issues compacted into one, in hopes that people can latch onto it and bridge onto it and hopefully be able to have conversations amongst themselves about those topics.
And how long have you been doing this show?
I started doing the show in 2018, I want to say, yeah. But some of the pieces have been around longer than that. And
Hmm.
so the way in which this show has been pieced together is that I have three poetry plus storytelling albums: Humanity, The Conscience of Love, and the newest one, Shook. And so, in creating a piece, I decided to, along with my collaborator, Christine Sumption, and my director, we pulled different pieces together from all three albums to bridge them together. And we, one, put it into a book called Dare to Claim the Sky. And then we created a show called Dare to Claim the Sky to go along with it. And so it's excerpts of all some of that work.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's lovely when you have something that you can, it's basically you've branded this, right? So it's like you can have a book, an album, a show, a movie, like, you can do so much with it. I love that. And
Yeah.
one thing that I failed to do is read your bio. So I'm going to do that read a
Okay.
little bit about you. So
Yeah, the
Sharon.
people.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, she's a spoken word artist, but she's a storyteller. She's also an arts administrator, and she's originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And she's been writing and developing her stories in Seattle for over 15 years. She is the executive director for the Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas. She is purposeful in sharing stories about her imperfections in hopes that she can change the world one story at a time. She's passionate about sharing her truth as it relates to family, religion, depression, being Black in America, to name a few of her storylines. She hopes her story will act as a bridge in bringing communities together. Sharon has had the privilege to perform throughout the United States and Rwanda, which we'll talk about later. And her show, Dare to Claim the Sky, is her third solo performance. And she talked about the books that she has. And so once again, they're called Humanity, Conscious of Love, and Shook. So that's quite an impressive resume. And so yeah, let's talk about Rwanda. How did
Okay.
you end up in Rwanda, and how was your experience there?
Oh my goodness, life changing, of course. My friend Dietra Neal started an organization called Feed Worldwide. And so a few years ago, we went as a group to help do a workshop for the Rwandan women around filmmaking. And it turned out to be more than just about filmmaking. It was about stepping into their own light. And I remember performing the first day my piece Dream. And in that piece, I say, Dream, Sharon, dream. Well, and then I talk about some of the trials and tribulations I've been through. And it was interesting because that was the first day the women were getting to know us. And it wasn't until a few days later that they realized that I was telling them they could dream.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize that nobody had ever told them that it was okay for them to dream and to follow their passion.
Yes.
And when it hit them, they was like, "We thought your name was Dream Sharon Dream," and and so it was one of the most rewarding times of my life as an artist and as a person, to just how free they are in sharing their stories around the genocide and how dedicated they are to their country, of putting bad things behind them so they can move forward and make everything much better for those who's coming after them. And so it was life changing, definitely.
Wow, beautiful. So you have, I've seen your work, and one of the things that I noticed about you that drew me in was you have such a powerful voice and a powerful instrument, you know, and it's and you command the stage, right? When you're on the stage, like you have just great stage presence.
Mhm.
So is that something, tell me about your upbringing in terms of wanting to be an artist. Was that something that you knew about yourself early on, that you had this talent? Or was that something that you developed, you know, a little bit later on in life?
I didn't recognize it early enough. Um, of, like I probably have the same story as a lot of other Black women, right? Grew up in church, and they threw me in front of everything, every program there was. I was active in it, and then I remember being in high school in a speech class, and I just got straight A's, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I was in college, and my speech teacher there was like, yo, the things that you do is amazing. I'm like, okay, what is it that I do? And so I studied television broadcasting, and I just wanted to be behind the camera. And then fast forward, I was in graduate school in Seattle at Seattle University in the Arts Leadership Program. And a speaker came in and they talked about stepping into your, not waiting for somebody else to do what you can do. Take the time to do what you need to do and tell your stories. And
Yes.
I stopped listening to him after he said that. And I started writing my first solo show, Plight, I Am My Brother's Keeper. And then while I was in the program, you know, people were fighting for me to be on their in their group, but they wasn't fighting necessarily for my sparks. They was fighting for my stage presence and the way I gave speeches. And I was like, well, how do I really use that? And so it was, and then the speech teacher for the graduate program, he gave me the best compliment. He was like, you have the voice of God. And I was like, what? Huh? What are you saying? So then I knew I had something special and I had to use it. And so I've been trying to stay in front of people ever since.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And so tell me a little about your you have two other solo shows or one other solo show?
Yeah, I have one called Plight I Am My Brother's Keeper,
Hmm.
um, that I did, okay, a long time ago, and it's really about the plight of Black men. And and the reason why I wrote that show is it was mainly inspired by my cousin, Nick, who was killed. Um, and he was killed, him and his friend, and found in the trunk of a car. And I
Uh,
couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it. And I wanted to know, I started exploring what was happening. How was men who grew up with me in these bad situations? So I have a former childhood friend who was executed by the state of Texas. I have a childhood friend who is in jail now for killing several people. And so I just wanted to tell the story of how to me they were just friends,
mhm.
and I didn't know anything else about that, the violent side. And so at that point I realized that I could tell stories that made you see people in the news differently. Like
Mhm.
in the news you only get so and so shot somebody, da da da, or so and so was killed. And then I found a way to share stories that humanize them and show the human side of them, which we as family members, that's all we know. And
Exactly.
so, and then after that, I wanted to challenge myself to do another solo show. And so I asked a bunch of my friends to give me stories, and that's called uh, Circle of Life. And it was really just putting all their stories together. And then the opportunity for Dare to Claim the Sky came about. And I've been riding with this show for a while. So
Nice. So, I mean, doing a solo show it's challenging, right? And so a lot of people think, oh, I can never do that. I can never do that. And even seasoned actors feel that way, that, you know, that just seems like something they would never dare to do using, you saw how I did that.
look at you, look at you.
You know, so what dared you to even have, you know, the chutzpah to even do that, to do a show in the first place? I mean, I know you said you were inspired by the story, but then, I mean, you could have written a play and had multiple actors do it, or you could have, you know what I mean? But to actually do the solo show yourself.
I think I was part crazy.
Yeah, we all
Part
are.
crazy. And I just love being on stage.
Yeah.
Love connecting with people. I love feeling that energy. And then it's my therapy too, right? Don't play. I tell my personal stories, and so to get them out of my system. And I think I was inspired. I tell people I was inspired by being at my grandmother's house or being at my auntie's house when we were young, and we just share story after story after story. And because some of that have gone away with technology and all that stuff, I just felt as though my nieces and nephews wasn't getting that experience. And so this is what I'm gifting to them and the rest of the world, the opportunities to say, we still need to hear our stories from one another. And that's what I do. And it just gives me so much, it's my happy place.
Yes.
And I dare not call myself an actress, because you are an actress and you do it well with those 20 characters that you did in your play. I was like, no, I can't do that. So basically finding your own way and how you can tell stories and be effective is my advice to anybody that wants to do it. Like,
Yeah.
don't try to be like somebody else.
Right, right. And I mean, you brought up a good point about, you know, our ancestors, that's what they did. They were storytellers. That's how
Mhm.
they passed the time. And it's important for us to keep that going. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think it's just so, I mean, because, you know, it's like my grandfather, my uncles, great uncles, especially even my uncles, but they, you know, when they tell stories, they're doing different characters, and
Exactly.
they weren't like formally trained to like, this is how you develop a character, you know, they just do them. Right.
Yeah. And you just be sitting there laughing. You laugh. You have I just remember seeing like the elders in the family, my grandmother, my aunties, they laugh. My cousin Gwen is the best storyteller in our family. And Gwen will get up and start having a show, and then everybody's grabbing their tissue, they wiping their eyes,
Right.
and you just laughing, and you're just like, yo, this is what it's about. And then she just goes one story after another, and people are throwing things at her, and then other people are chiming in with, they tell the story about this, tell the story about that.
Right.
And we're just having a good time. And that's what I hope. That's why in my description of my show, I say, welcome to my living room.
Mm.
Um, because I just hope that people feel like they're in the room with me, and that, you know, we're having that moment that we used to have as kids, and we still have it now. I mean, I go home and we get together, and it's like, okay, but the little kids are out playing the PlayStation and Roblox and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the older generation is starting to be like, okay, let's talk. And they
Yeah,
start to have stories of their own.
exactly.
Sometimes stories I don't want to hear, but where they calling me out on something. But
Right, right.
it's love. It's love.
Beautiful, beautiful. So after this, what is next for you? What do you see Where you see yourself in the next year or two? Anything lined up for you?
I need to promote my new album, Shook. I haven't told a lot of people about it. It's out there on all the platforms. I just haven't gotten the marketing package together to say, here, y'all, listen to this work. So I have to focus on that. I have another show coming up with the LA Women's Theater Festival, I think November 8th around Triumph. And then I just hope for the opportunity to just keep getting on different platforms, sharing different stories. And the ultimate goal is to travel the world and just keep sharing stories and changing it one story at a time.
There you
That's it.
go. I
I'm
love
gonna
it.
keep pushing.
Yes, beautiful. Well, it was so great talking to you. And
So great getting this time with you one on one.
one-on-one, baby.
You
Yeah.
know, it's awesome. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. It means so much to me and what I'm trying to do. And you helping me live my dream. And I appreciate you for that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I feel honored to have you be a part of Black Voices. So thank you. And please go out. Well, I keep saying go out and check out, but it's like, figuratively, get your
Yes.
tickets, sit at home in your living room, and watch this powerful performer, Sharon Nyree Williams, this Thursday. Dare to Claim the Sky. Go get your tickets at the whitefiretheater.com website. All right. Have a great day. All right,
Thank
Sharon.
you.
Good talking to you.
All righty.